Is this the best welder you've never heard of? Well, today I'm going to go over 3 pros and at the end 2 cons you might want to consider before buying a cheap welder off Amazon. Now, BestArc did send this thing over, but as always, we're going to keep it real here on Garnett-Tools. So starting with the pros, this thing just does it all. And what I mean by that is it gives you access to every common welding technique.
You can see TIG, arc, MIG, gas, gasless, 110 or 220.
Do you like the weld on 220? Well, it comes pre-wired for 220. Do you instead like 110 and only have access to that? Guess what? The adapter's in the box. Now, of course, every one of these low cost or budget welders is typically a flux core welder. Yes, it comes with that stuff, but do you want to add gas to it? Guess what? It comes with the tubing. It even comes with an additional spool of solid core wire. Which brings us to our second pro, which is this thing is actually really easy to use. Let me show you.
So as you can see, this machine features one larger display, and a lot of the things this thing is going to go ahead and do for you. I'm connected to 110, and this thing already indicates that it's on 110. As you can see, it also indicates that the fan is currently running, and it's going to do that by itself if the machine is hot or not. It's going to decide on its own whether to run that. Every one of the selections are directly below an indicated arrow. So if you can see, we're going to set this up for flux core MIG, as that's what I have spooled up in the machine. So you're just going to press this arrow, change it to MIG, boom. And we're going to come over here and change our wire size to 0.040. And then we're going to go from gas to gasless. Then the remaining option right here is 2T or 4T. 2T means you pull the trigger, you're welding. You're holding, you're welding. You let go, you're not welding. 4T, we switch it into that mode. You press the trigger like an on-off switch, and it continues to weld without you touching the trigger until you press it again, and you stop welding. Most of you, me included, will leave that on 2T. And that's really as simple as it gets. You can press this button in and adjust your wire speed. You can change your wire speed to be faster or slower, and it will also change your voltage. But I'm going to leave it at 0, and it's by default going to be in synergic mode, which means it automatically controls the wire speed depending on the amperage you set it to. So it's going to be a different when you set it to 100 versus 50. As you can see, this thing is very easy to use. You can pull it out of the box and really get to welding relatively easy. And at the price point, which brings us to our third pro, the price they want for this, I think full price, not on sale, $170. If you want to compare it to something like Harbor Freight, in Harbor Freight, for roughly $120, I think you're getting, don't quote me on the amperage, but you're getting a flux core only. You can't put gas to it, and you're not going to be able to do 220. For 120, for 50 bucks more, you can step up to something like this and be able to step up to any welding type you want. But as always, and as with everything, there are never any perfect products. And this thing does inherently have a couple of cons. But first, we're going to show you how this thing burns.
Here's what we got. That was my literal first attempt. That was my second. As you can see, that didn't pan out too good. But I started increasing the amperage, and right there, you can still see cracking. Cracking real good. I think I went to 100 right there. But on these two, I went to 125, and I started rocking. And the thing is, it didn't make me a better welder. It made me just about as good as welder with MIG as I've ever been. So this is my practical
tester demonstration is if this can get welded to this. And we're gonna see if this BestArc can handle this. Hopefully I won't have any issues with this, but we shall see. All right, so hear me out. I'm not the greatest of welders, but I think that's on there. Yeah, I think she ain't going nowhere here. We can, yeah, hold on. We're gonna test her out hot. Safety squints on. I'm going to use my welding helmet in case this does end catastrophically, but don't try this at home, kids. I call her stuck on there. And that's kind of what a MIG's intended for, right? Quick and dirty. So by now you must be wondering, what are the cons? Well, for one, it doesn't come with anything TIG related. So it can TIG, but the torch and any of the accessories for TIG is not included. And that leaves you with having to go seek out something that fits this, if I can even get this thing out of here, something that fits this little connection point at the front of the machine. It might be common, but that just leaves you with another thing to do when it comes to welding. With TIG, you're going to need a gas bottle period anyway, so you're likely to have a lot of the things you need for TIG. It's just finding the torch would be something that would have been helpful when speccing out a device that's kind of marketed to include everything. That issue is a little minor issue. A bigger one, in my opinion, is that the second con is that this manual is trash. And it's not because the English is bad. The English is kind of bad. Some things are mistranslated. The issue comes with where it's telling you how to set up the machine. If you set the machine up the way it's described under stick operation, you won't be able to stick. How to set connectors for stick. And you can see the earth or work connector is on the positive. Electrode holder positive. And it says here, the electrode holder negative. So that's the reason this manual is junk. That's the first thing you have to nail, is if you have a machine, if someone's stepping up to this machine and doesn't know how to use it, you have to make sure you nail this good. Because if I don't know how to use it, I'm gonna think it's junk when it's not. Final verdict on this thing is that it's a great little machine. It does MIG, TIG, and stick. And as I just showed you, it's only $20 more than an in-store Harbor Freight option that is a 110 flux core only machine. At the $20 price differential, this thing is definitely a greater value proposition, as it can do all three welding techniques. They do need to step their game up and fix their manual so that it is easily discernible how to use the machine for someone who's not used to or accustomed to welding. But for the $170 price tag, I would not be afraid to spend my hard-earned money on it. Special thanks to BestArc for sending this thing out again. But as always, if you like this video, drop a like, get subscribed, and consider checking out my merch link. If you want to see me use those Bondhuss Islands, make sure you check out this video over here. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.